The alley is a place in flood. It might be this that makes the two people, one handing something to the other, seem to be numerous people. It might also be their raincoats the color of tap water, the little sponges that are their eyes, the way their shoes are deeper and longer than city streets. Behind the signs you can see are the skulls and hair of other signs, and behind those the signs only professors know how to read, but they all say, "Poison is friendly. Poison is friendly." Dimness. January takes a while to become itself and quit being last year. The light tries to bypass the remaining pair of bananas quickly, but my taste buds are bad tasting, and I've got a feeling this is more than a mood of theirs. I'm so thankful you're only beautiful, and not drop-dead beautiful. I don't want to drop dead just yet. I see appreciation could kill me the same way it keeps me alive, open time by open time, polishing your skin. Nothing deserves to be familiar, sky or water or the colors they come up with between them, all in the black and white range. So when an old thick plane goes over like a returning past, we're looking at it the way we ought to. This is called Run. I don't know why. She knocked at a time he'd be home and his lover wouldn't. He honorably smiled at her sad, cosmetic face like a denial of nakedness, which was funny. Snow hardly any fell, dry little windy orbs like foam packing. "This doesn't have to be complicated," she said. "It doesn't have to," he said, "but it will." Fluke. This is correct, that in these minutes of last light, there should be a specter of full moon shredding me like clouds. I am letting you come home to me soon by waiting for you. Also by letting the breaks in my surface be U-shaped. Because this bulk of biography named after me is choked clay of years' untended shrines. Oh, everything runs backwards after a certain point. I choose not to go along. Today in a stairwell, I passed the woman who told me 9 years ago, "I know that you are my true love." Today she told me, "Hey, true love never came in language, but in finding the right way to live simultaneously and with gaps. Soon you'll place your hands around me, and by some fluke, we'll have each other." This one is called Violence, and I recommend Danny Solis's poem called Violence, which is actually about violence. I don't know where my titles come from. The world's ambling toward me jaunty, unpressured, sprinkled with brags of crow and weak of sky. The cold is less stiff, flexing. Asleep windows float sluggish. Behind the eyes is a care fluffed and foot-bridged like a book dropped in water, some solid that acts like wine, twanging the wilderness like a rubber band. This that is falling is not the real snow. These prints aren't the prints of fists. The walls stand up groggy, smiling. The room was waiting for a voice louder than electricity, was waiting to be a dog dipping with slavish love. Now the colors aren't so much terrible as shy, dead grass, living sand. Sparrow chirps cover the block like flowers, but the crows are spread a square block off, shock-riddled that night is gone. Their caws try to stick it back in the air. This one comes to me from a dream that my son Malcolm had and told me about, where the two of us were sharing a new kind of hallucinogen. The watermelons with the blue meat encourage conversation about the stars, whether they're fleeing or approaching God, and how fast. When you've been eating the watermelons with the blue meat, you spot the microscopic engineer cupids who make everything happen, and understand how to tell them apart by their hats. After eating the watermelons with the blue meat, you sit whirled in a bath just as pacifying as invigorating. You breathe the sky. You always breathe the sky, but now that's a knot of knowledge. Knowledge like mist on mountains when the mountains bow. To open the watermelons with the blue meat, you need to relax your fingers and relax your blade. Here comes another reference to the Cancer Center. I think it's the theme today. Verdict. Two big troopers in tan escort an inmate in yellow jumpsuit, wheelchair bound, to get blood drawn. The guards have field trip faces and dangle the con's shackles from hammy hands. All three men tattooed. The prisoner middle-aged, sandy 70s stash and sideburns, furtive eyes, but they look right at me with no familiar emotion. I'm congratulating myself I'm not pretty to men anymore, but then remember Susan Brownmuller and that I am still weak and exploitable. But really, we're both in a cancer ward, so what's he supposed to think of me, all things considered? What's my verdict on him? And this last one is called Shadows. Childhood was a fever where you leaned against someone who watched you painfully. The time and the person are lost in a golden smell like a rare breakfast. You can build that tall, bewildered person however you like, and that tall time, when trees you couldn't begin to guess might as well have been a stone-columned porch and made fun of your galloping, clinging kind. Someone was your brother with a slow smile. Someone whose toy you stole screamed like wind. Closed sun of sulks must have littered on you whole afternoons in an unjust bedroom. You can't say. If anything, you'd like the brush of short hairs on the neck of the man toting you, the silent heat of the woman next your bed, but even the bed, how that kept you, whether it suffered, is down underneath the light. You know these people from songs at most, not from photos. The photos show a living little boy with only a distant face, and still grass, stiller than any world, and shadows on the land. Thanks.